Lance Reddick is here. You've seen him in a ton of stuff, but he's part of the John Wick trilogy, which right now, I mean, to me, in movies, if you're going to be part of a trilogy, John Wick is probably the coolest thing that's out there right now. Welcome, Lance Reddick.
Thank you.
How are you, man?
I'm good.
Did you have any idea when you signed on to do John Wick, did you have any idea what it was going to turn into?
Absolutely not.
Right.
No. It was one of those things where I thought, well, first of all, the reason when I first got the script, there were two reasons why I wanted to do the movie. First of all, that whole trope of the mild-mannered guy who gets wronged and then goes on a revenge spree, and then you find out he's the baddest cat in the universe.
Yeah,
has been done a gazillion times.
Oh yeah,
but
superheroes are always kind of like fucked up first, or people. There's always something shitty in their childhood. It's never a good childhood.
Yeah. But I mean, I'd never seen that. I'd never seen it told that way.
Right.
So the script was so cool, and there was the whole environment of the Continental, and there was this hotel, this 5-star hotel for the elite assassins was just so cool, and the character was the kind of character that I haven't gotten to play before. I mean, usually I play people of authority who talk a lot. So to play the quintessential servant who was taciturn and stoic was really, I just couldn't wait to do that.
Why do you play authority figures? I mean, obviously you're so good as Daniels on The Wire, but is it because you just have an authoritative energy?
No, I think it was, there's Hollywood this business tends to typecast. I think in terms of casting, it tends to be lazy. I mean, let me just give you an example. So when I auditioned for The Wire, I had just come off I played Bubbles in the corner. Not Bubbles. I played I can't remember his name now. In the but I played a crackhead in the corner.
That's right.
And then I played a heroin addict on Oz.
Right.
So when I auditioned for The Wire,
you started as a detective, right, on Oz? And then became a heroin.
Yes,
and then became a heroin addict.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But still, so when I auditioned, first of all, they wouldn't even see me for Daniels. And then I auditioned for Bunk 3 times, and on my 3rd time, that was when David Simon and Ed Burns were in the room. Mm-hmm. And David asked me to read Bubbles on the spot. And then I was second choice for Bubbles. So, and then, of course, Andre Roy took it. So, and then, I don't know, it was maybe a month later, I got the call to read for Daniels because I think they were looking for big names and they couldn't find what they were looking for. Mm-hmm. And then he passed on me for Daniels.
Oh, wow.
And then, like 2 weeks later, after I'd forgotten all about it, I got a call saying they'd come back and they were offering me the role.
I need a story like this. Where see, when I audition for something, it's always, we don't ever want to see you again for anything. it's never, we'd love to give you this part because you didn't get that one.
They pass on you and that's the end of the story.
Oh, they pass on me literally for the future of that director. He'll never see me from a project.
If I direct, I'll cash you in a second.
Well, thank you. But that's amazing because when you see a show in its completion, like they made the right move with you and with Bunk and with Andre Roy, like it all works. Like I can't picture any of you guys doing any of those roles different, like as each other.
Oh, Andre, I mean, he defined. I mean, that was a character that was supposed to die by the end of the first season, and he killed the role so much they kept around to like the end of the show.
Wasn't Omar supposed to be like a 6 episode arc or something?
Omar, I don't know. Interesting enough, because I met the guy that he was based on. He was a very interesting guy.
Wasn't he? I believe he was in one of the episodes. He played one of the prisoners. Did he?
The episode that I remember him from is when Omar gets sent to prison and he thinks that he's about to get killed, and he's one of the 2 guys who come up to him and he finds out that they've been sent as bodyguards.
The real and the real guy who The Corner was based on. I know he was in a couple episodes, and he passed away. The guy who the whole thing was based on.
Wait. Well, I think Gary, the lead character from The Corner, I think he was actually had passed away by the time we did The Wire.
I'm thinking of the guy who was Brother Muzone's, the guy who he hung out with. I don't remember his real name.
Oh, wait, you mean his bodyguard?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that might have been I can't think of his name. The son, from The Corner. I mean, the real guy. That might have been, now that I think of it, because I met him at a rap party once.
I can't think of his name either, but he was good. Well, but he died.
Well, the funny thing is, like the character, you may or may not know. I know I'm supposed to be talking about.
Talk about what he.
John Wick's great,
but I mean the character that I believe Avon Barksdale is based on is one of the biggest drug dealers in the history of Baltimore, Little Melvin, who actually Ed Burns actually caught him and actually they became friends. He started visiting him in prison.
Wow.
Doesn't he play a preacher?
He plays a preacher in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The little meek guy. He's always coming around with a positive message. That was the big drug dealer.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of like a depression or sadness? I mean, I'm sure there's sadness, but any kind of like emotionally when a show like The Wire ends, and I mean everybody associated with that show had to know they were doing a once in a lifetime special thing. When it comes time to move on to the next thing, is there a feeling like, how am I going to replace something that is this good?
No.
There isn't.
Well, I shouldn't say that. As a general statement, probably, but specific to The Wire, no. I speak for myself only because our everybody's associations of The Wire now are because it's become this worldwide phenomenon. But when we were on, we were like that black show on HBO that nobody was watching. We almost got canceled twice.
I see.
Isn't it weird that it won no awards? It was only nominated, I think, for a couple of writing awards in season 5.
Well, it was nominated for writing in season 2, and it lost the House. I'm not kidding. Then it was nominated for writing in season 5. It didn't win. The cast was never nominated for any awards. It was never nominated for best series. It won 1 DGA award the last season.
How did it not? How did nobody get nominated for an acting award? Not even nominated. How does that? Is it because they told the story in a way that Hollywood wasn't comfortable? I don't understand how that could happen.
At the time, I mean, you want my my blunt perspective? It was just too black. There was just too many. There was just too many three-dimensional black people, black men in particular, and on too many levels of power. It was just head spinning. I mean, just to give
and
me
that's what Sam doesn't like about that.
I just think it was one of those because part of what was so screwed up about it was that we were the lead into The Sopranos. So we were on when The Sopranos and Sex and the City and 6 Feet Under and Entourage were on. So all those shows were getting, award nominations up the wazoo.
Right.
And for us, it was crickets.
Wow.
It's really crazy because The Sopranos was an amazing show, but like of all the that show seems to be the one that gets the most respect from other actors.
The Wire
is The Wire, yeah.
Well, now The Wire is like the biggest show, except maybe Game of Thrones, like in the history of HBO. But at the time, Sopranos, and I'm not, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, in terms of kind of changing the landscape of television, Sopranos is the show that did it.
Yeah.
Well, Sopranos is incredible, but it's almost this thing where everybody always knew it was incredible. It wasn't there to discover later.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas The Wire is this thing where people were like, oh my God, this has just been sitting here?
Well, one of the things that for me that's so amazing about The Wire is that I feel like part of the mentality that kept it not being talked about in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. There's for so long there's been this notion that like, for example, black films don't sell to mainstream, or people only want to see themselves.
Yeah.
But the thing that's so cool about The Wire is that how it got big was by word of mouth, and it became huge in Europe, particularly the UK, and believe it or not, in Sweden and Scandinavia.
Wow.
Way before it was in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, just because good television, good stories
go
beyond any sort of experiences. It's just everybody loves good stories.
Yeah, I think it's a disservice to. I think people are a lot more open and a lot more intelligent than a lot of times the powers that be given credit for.
Honestly, I hate to do a corny radio, bring it back to what we're here to talk about. But for John Wick, the first time I saw John Wick, I'm going, it's just another cheesy action movie. I guess I'll just put it on and see what this thing is. And then it was this story that I got locked into, and I'm going, oh my God, this is like on my list of movies now. This is amazing.
I mean, it's the characters. I mean, we can talk about the action too, because that's its own.
Of course.
I mean, how it changed American action is its own thing. But just in terms of an action film that has characters that are that many cool, interesting characters. Mm-hmm. I mean, it almost feels like. It's weird because it almost feels like a character-driven piece, not an action-driven piece, because these characters are so deep and rich.
What's Keanu like? What's Keanu Reeves like? Because he's one of the few who I feel like had the opportunity to be Brad Pitt, George Clooney type, and just decided to kind of not be as public. You know what I mean? Kind of decided to do his own thing.
When you say you mean in terms of kind of his public persona?
Yeah, he decided to not be a public figure and just kind of focus more on the work that he wanted to do. That's from watching from afar. That's what I feel like.
Well, from watching up close, that gets the same impression.
Yeah,
I mean, my experience of Keanu is that he's a very private guy. He's really one of the things because I didn't really know much about his life or personality, but because of what you just said, I didn't know what to expect. So one of the things that really kind of threw me, besides just how intense he is when he's working, was how thoughtful and sensitive he is. He's very, sounds like a cliche to say, he's very kind. And I'm not, even people that I think are like a good guy, I'm not used to that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But by the same token, he's very guarded when it comes to his personal space. I mean, you don't get in easily.
Right.
But
so he's not the type of guy you become best buddies with.
It depends.
You have a good relationship
if he wants to. But I mean, because that's the flip side. He's not a star for nothing. I mean, there's the kind of the shy, sensitive artist who's also like an aggressively assertive macho guy.
Right.
Is he? Did you guys stay friends? I mean, I'd rather be friends with you than him.
I mean, we get along. I mean, here's the weird thing, because I'm kind of shy and introverted too. So so when we're together, it's funny because Ian McShane is an extreme extrovert. Plus, Keanu is believe it or not, he's a theater geek. So he and Ian are really good friends because he knows like every piece of theater Ian's done in like his career.
That's amazing.
So we're three of us be talking, and Ian walk away, and there's be crickets. So it's how's the weather? And I remember at one point there was this long silence, and he decided to ask me something about myself that I'm like, how do you even know that?
Yeah,
because he was trying to make conversation.
But he had researched. He had done his homework.
Yeah, so it's a personality thing. But I mean, for me personally, I mean, I love him.
It's interesting that you say that you're an introvert because I didn't realize that, and that's again only because I look at it from afar. We're a fan of a lot of your works. We were talking about The Wire, Oz, John Wick, and everything. But to me, your best works on television was your appearance on the Eric Andre show. I've been a big fan of the Eric Andre show. I watched every episode. I love the show, and we watched it earlier on the radio show and kind of familiarized the audience with it a little bit. But the moment that you had, I thought, was just one of these moments that a few other celebrities have had where you get pissed and walked off the show. I believed it when you said you need a new desk, you slammed your fist into it, the questions were stupid, and you left. When you walked out a few minutes later, dressed as the amalgamation of LeVar Burton roles with the chains on, saying, I want to be LeVar Burton.
And don't forget the Star Trek communicator.
Yeah,
on chest.
On the bare chest of your 0% body fat torso.
Those days are gone, but thank
you. Chanting, I want to be LeVar Burton. How did this come about? Whose idea was it? Was there any hesitation?
So this is all Eric's idea. So first of all, when
you had the balls, by the way, to pitch that to you.
Yeah.
Go, here's what we're thinking. Bare chested, you put the communicator on, you've got chains on, you start demanding your iconic slave role.
Balls is his middle name. Well, first of all, when I got the offer to do the show, I'd never heard of it. So I went online to look at it, and I was like, I don't get this. And then I spoke to my agent, and we're of the same generation, and she was like, I don't get it either. You should speak to, so she sent me to another agent who's like 30 years younger. So I said, what do you think? He goes, oh, he's genius. You got to do it. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. So Eric and I got on the phone. We talked about some ideas, and then
which you had to feel respected by the way, because Eric, for the most part, is like not taking his guests all that seriously or being respectful enough to work out stuff with them. He's more into embarrassing them.
Oh, it gets better.
Okay, sorry.
So so this is maybe three weeks before, right? I get there that day, and all that stuff goes out the window. So then he decides, oh, let's try this. So that's literally like in the dressing room, like I don't know, 15, 20 minutes before I'm supposed to go out there, he pitches me this LeVar Burton thing. And he hands me some stuff. He said, kind of say this stuff, but you can ad lib too. So, and the moment, I mean, there was some crazy stuff that didn't even get on. Like, for example, at one point he had an exercise video on a television screen playing, and he wanted me to be sitting in the chair, kind of trying to do the exercises with the video. And the getting angry thing, he said, on the next take, just get pissed off and walk away. And the slam to the death, that was just spontaneous.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. It was a great moment because you really looked angry.
Was there any hesitation to doing the whole LeVar Burton thing, or were you going when he pitched it? Are you going, well, that young agent said this was genius, so I guess that's genius too. I'm going to do this.
I mean, I am a bit of a clown, so I love that kind of stuff. I mean, my background is traditional theater, not sketch comedy, so I'm always a little nervous about being asked spontaneously to improvise. But generally, if I just kind of just say, can you say swear words on here?
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay, great. So generally, if I just, part of me just says fuck it and just kind of jump off, I'm fine.
Right, and that's the way this happened. Yeah. And so we're all the cursing and the horrible language. Was that him or you?
Oh, at the end when I said fuck all, fuck, don't Rainbow read me, nigga. No, that was all I'd lived.
You did that?
Yeah, no, I was in it, and it just came up at the end. yeah,
that's incredible that was you.
Did he know you? The thing is, you're a big Star Trek fan, and you're an actor, I guess, because Shatner kind of made you want to be an actor.
Well, I wouldn't put it quite. It's a little more nuanced than that. Not a lot, but a little. I mean, because I was just enamored with the, especially when I grew up. I mean, like it was James Bond and it was Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
You know, like those are the white guys I wanted to be when I was 8.
Right.
And so, and it was this weird thing. I mean, I know I've told this. I feel like I've told this story recently, but I remember when I was, I think it was I was in high school. And it was a Saturday afternoon, and like it was raining or something. I was just hanging around the house, and I was in my father's den, and I just happened to be browsing over some books, and I saw this old volume of Shakespeare plays that he had from when he was in college. And I just opened it up to Julius Caesar, and I opened up randomly. There's the big speech that Brutus gives to the crowd before Mark Antony comes with the Friends, Romans, and Country, and then sways the crowd. And I learned that speech, but I imagined how Captain Kirk would do it because I'd read that William Shatner was a Shakespearean actor.
But you did it as Captain Kirk.
Well, my version of Captain Kirk. Right. I mean, this is before he kind of became a parody of himself by the 3rd season. But
can you do Shakespeare?
I'm pretty good at it, yeah.
Wow.
See, that's incredible.
I mean, I haven't done it. I haven't done it in like, oh man, it's been 20 years since I did a Shakespeare play.
But you've done live Shakespeare. I'm fascinated by anybody can stand up there and memorize Shakespeare and understand what it means.
Ironically, the last Shakespeare play I did was Julius Caesar. I played Mark Antony at the Guthrie.
You did?
Yeah.
So are you confident as an actor that you could take on pretty much any type of role?
I don't know any type of role, but I'm confident my range is pretty big.
When you go, okay, so like for instance, when you
and often when I get something that I haven't done before, I'm like, oh shit, fuck, what am I gonna do? And then I figure it out.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Like when you have to be a heroin addict in jail, do you?
Oh, but also at that time in my career, it was like that's the kind of shit I was looking for. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But do you go and like? Do you talk to other heroin addicts?
Hang out with them or sleep outside?
Be a heroin addict?
Well, that was one because I didn't have to shoot up. I only had to snort it.
Right.
Not me personally, but I had seen people snort shit before.
Enough said, I guess.
You had friends at parties. That would have been a bad influence had you not been a better person.
Yes.
Thank God you didn't do anything horrible like that.
So you learned kind of from watching them, observing them.
Yeah. I mean, and there's been enough. I mean, not that you should be doing your research for movies, but I mean, there's been enough kind of people snorting. It's in the culture.
What do you snort on set? Like what do they? What's movie?
It was
heroin?
Coke.
We're not gonna make you do heroin.
You saw me trying to find the real thing. No, it was lactose, I think.
How does it feel?
It burned my nose.
It does. Yeah. So that sort of like reaction there is.
Yeah.
There is okay.
Yeah.
How do you avoid when you're doing something like a heroin addict playing or a cop playing the stereotype of that thing, like the stereotypical cop or the stereotypical heroin addict?
Yeah.
How do you find the person in that?
Well, you don't try to because I mean, First of all, I wasn't playing a heroin addict. I was playing a cop who was in a situation he was trying to keep his cover. So the first time I snorted, it was for real, was because Adebisi made me off the floor.
Right.
So, and you never, I mean, you're never playing a cop. You're playing a person who has that job.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, for example, when I, when I was doing research for The Wire, one of the great things they did for us was they had us do ride-arounds with people that were kind of the same rank that we were. And so I met a Baltimore lieutenant. He was actually he was in graduate school at Johns Hopkins at the time, and he was looking to move up in rank, and he told me the two things he told me that really struck me. One was he said, "You always want to try to lead from the front as much as possible. So whenever I can, I try to go on raids with my guys." And he said, you try to treat in some ways, you try to treat the people under you like your children, and now that statement, not to infantilize them. I hope I'm saying the right word, right?
Yeah.
But rather, you care about them that way. You know, I mean, you're shepherding them, and so that was the attitude I took. And the other thing he told me, which really fascinated me, and told me a lot about kind of the mentality of being a hardcore cop, was about an arrest he had to make of a dirty cop in his house. So there was this dirty cop, and they found out about him, and so they went to arrest him, and he was the first one in the door, and he went in the guy's bedroom, and when he came in, the guy reached for his dresser to reach for his gun.
Yeah, of course.
And the thing he said to the guy was, "Please do it, because I would love nothing more than to blow you away." And they looked at me and said, "I fucking hate dirty cops." And I realized, wow. Cops, criminal, like in terms of like in order to it's all the street. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
In terms of kind of the visceral experience, it's all the street. The only thing that's different is the values.
Right. Yeah, the code of ethics.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the vibe like on the set of a show like Oz? Because I mean, what one of the
Any
things
romances develop?
I mean, there's so much temptation.
I will say there was it's the in my experience, it's the most testosterone-filled set I've ever been on.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you two examples. One is I would see guys, not infrequently, doing grappling drills in between takes.
Wow.
One guy who's become quite successful, so I'm not going to name names, but he was telling a story once. While it was long. They were in between setups. He was telling a story once about this chick he's fucking, right. So he said, we're going at it, and she says, she said to him, oh God, Mark, yes. He goes, my name's not Mark, and she says, oh my God, did I ruin it for you? And he said, nah. And he went right back at it. So I mean, it was that kind of stuff.
So you have, I was wondering that because one of the things that made the show was that just when you thought there couldn't be more bad news, there was more bad news. It's like no matter what character.
That was my personal experience as well.
No happy endings. No, nothing. The only way you could possibly be satisfied watching that show is if you wanted bad things to happen to people, because everybody.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that.
Yeah.
Because when I died, I found out by reading in the script, which is not the only time that's happened to me.
They didn't tell you in advance.
No. So I was mortified, and being especially at the time being kind of this intense kind of character, wanting to be Brando in every role, attitude I had. Well, yeah. So when you were young, you just fuck.
Right.
So anyway, so I'm thinking, fuck, man, did I fuck up? So I went to Tom Fontana. I said, I knocked on his door, said, can I talk to you? He said, yeah. I said, I saw that you killed me. I mean, have you been unhappy with my work? He said, oh, no. You've been great. It's just that the way your storyline was going, it was going to look like you were going to have a happy ending. And we can't have that on ours.
because that really is. I mean, you go season by season, and it's like you get to a place where you're like, I can't fall in love. Like you start to feel like, oh, season 2 version of Beecher is my favorite thing, and he finally gets aggressive, and it's just gonna end badly. Don't get attached.
I love when they do. We have to wrap up. I love when they do it. I love when they. What didn't David Simon say? We're gonna break your heart. Didn't he say that about season 5?
Oh, I don't remember.
I thought he said that about season 5.
He has so many quotable quotes.
We're going to break your heart. I love when a show does that, when you think it's going to be happy and they just cut your throat. It's like, oh, that's just
Season 5,
great.
that was a ballsy direction to go for a show like that. Yeah.
It was.
Want more Jim and Sam? Catch up with full episodes and interviews from celebrity guests anytime on demand using the SiriusXM app.